5. So here we deal purely related with friction. So the effect of friction and its applications, right? Hope you would have learned something about friction, because there are lots of application in this friction, right? So one of them, a few of them is listed here. So which will be your unit, this unit, right? So you can able to see what is the type of friction, and we have a friction drive. So friction drives are belt drives, right? Belt drives involves with friction, then friction in screws, friction in clutches, friction in bearings, and of course belt ropes. And this is, of course, this two is same, right? This is the first introduction. Then later they will be solving some simple problems in belt and rope and friction in brakes, right? So these are all the applications related to the friction. A friction is a force that is exerted by two surfaces, right? So when you rub each other, right? So mostly we use these types of things in olden days for to generate temperature, to generate heat, to make something firing. So you can able to see the figure, right? So always the friction will act opposite to the direction of motion, right? So whatever the direction, so it is opposite to that. Okay. So the friction, what are the factors? So let us consider what are the factors that will strengthen the friction force between the two factors. Can you tell me? So let me consider this figure. Can you tell me what are the factors involved in this for a friction? An important factor which
The
involves in the
type of
friction.
surface.
Sir, அங்க
Sorry?
கான்டாக்ட் ஆகுற பாயிண்ட்ல
Yeah. So it is surface contact, or I can say surfaces. So what are the surface which is having contact, right? Based on that, it will change. Then any other factor?
ஃபோர்ஸஸ்
Sorry,
ஃபோர்ஸ்
force.
Force
Yeah.
on a
What is the
particular-
amount of force or weight which is acting on a particular object? Then
So type of surface, sir.
yeah, type is what is indicated here. Instead of type, you can say in other words.
Roughness.
Roughness. Roughness. Yeah. So it is roughness. How rough the surface is, right? So the surface contact is, let me consider, if it's a wood, right? Wood and metal contact. Okay. But if the wood is smooth, then that friction is different. If the same wood is having a rough, that is different. So that's why I indicated this separately. So surface doesn't depends on the roughness, right? The surface is a type of material which is having in contact. Okay, where roughness is how rough the material is. Okay, anything else? Anything else other than this?
resultant force.
One more is available. One more is available.
So resultant force.
It is not the resultant force. Actually, whatever the force you are acting here, let me consider. So if the force is acting here, that will be the resultant here. So I think that is equal, of course. That is not the main factor. There is one more factor,
Angle
which
of
is angle of contact. Of course, that is also related with the friction force, right? So if there is a motion, right? So the friction force will be opposite direction, and the resultant of this too, right? It will be having an angle, so that is different. The one factor which is left is speed, right? So of course you would not deal with these things. So speed is, so you have two different. So one, when your object is at rest, what happens to the friction? When the object is in motion, continuous motion, what happens to the friction, right? So that also deals with the friction. Okay, So one factor. So how much speed or how much whether the object is at resting state, that also indicates the amount of friction available, right? Okay. So next thing, so when you deal with this, there are two types of friction. First, we deal with a static friction. So static friction is when your object is not moving. So when your object is not moving, then we call that friction as a static friction. Okay. So when you apply a force on a particular object, right? So there won't be movement. So the force is less, right? Let me consider this is the weight of an object, W, which is acting here, right? So because of that weight, you will have a reaction here, which is, let me call it as NR, N suffix R, indicating the reaction. So whatever the force you apply here, right, if that is less when compared to this, right, it depends on the friction force, the object will not move, right? So only if the friction force and the force you are applying is equal, right? So somewhat equal, then your object will start to move. Okay, so your object will start to move. When your object is moving, then you can't say that it is a static friction. It is different. It is dynamic or kinetic friction. Okay, right. So we consider here your object here. So same thing. So resistance depends on the amount of wedging. Wedging is the roughness on the particular surface, right? So that depends on the friction. So that is your frictional resistance, right? So this is identified by a factor. So by a term. What is the name we call that? We call that as coefficient of friction. We call that as coefficient of friction, right? So we use the sign mu, right? So this mu is also we call it as tan phi, right? This mu is also we call it as tan phi. What is this tan phi? Can you tell?
Phi is friction angle, sir.
Yeah, phi is the friction angle. For example, so usually this is the weight, this is the normal force, right? When you resolve this two, so when you make it as a single term, so N and F, I will get one force, which is R. Okay, the angle with respect to this, that is that phi, right? The resultant angle with respect to N and R, F, friction force, we call it as a single force, that is R. So that R, so it is related to this. So in the tan theta, எப்படி வந்ததுன்னா இந்த இடத்துல opposite by adjacent side வரும், right? So based on that, we got the tan theta. Okay, right. So well, consider there are a few steps, right? What we say whenever we apply a friction. When your P is 0, so let me consider your object, same object here, right? The same object. What happens when your P is 0 and F is also 0, right? F is your friction force. Then I can say that the system is in equilibrium condition, right? There is no movement of the system. When your P increases, what happens? Your F is also increased, right? Proportionately. So if I increase the force, automatically your friction force will also increase, right? So why it is increasing? It has to maintain the equilibrium. For that, it is increasing. It is resisting, right? So that is one case, right? What happens? So when the block is starting to move, when your block is starting to move, right? Your F will be maximum. That we call as a limiting friction, right? So adukapra vandu there is no restriction, right? So what happens? Your object is trying to move, right? When you increase it slowly, so that will try to move. That we call it as a limiting friction. Okay, this limiting friction, right? So when this limiting friction, of course, up to this limiting, this we call it as a static friction. Okay, then the force is less than the limiting friction. Whatever the force you are applying is less than the limiting friction. The resistance on that friction we call it as a static friction. right? When there is, so that means what I am saying is when there is no movement, when the object is not moving, right? Whatever the friction occurs on that particular object, we call that as a static friction. Okay. Okay. So what happens if you increase your P further? Your F decreases rapidly, right? Your F decreases rapidly, and of course, you can't say that there's no friction. So there is friction, right? That friction we call it as a dynamic or a kinetic friction. That friction we call it as a dynamic or a kinetic friction. So let me plot a graph for this. So this is how it will be, right? You can able to see. So when your P is 0, there is no change, right? Slowly, when I increase my force, right, what happens? Your friction is also increasing, right, proportionately. So still it reaches the maximum value. This is your limiting friction. This is your limiting friction. So at this stage, your object tries to move, right? இது வரைக்கும் object வந்து ரெஸ்ட்ல இருக்கு. This is your resting position. This is your resting position. Automatically, after it goes the limit, your object is trying to move. So what happens? Your friction is reducing rapidly, and then it maintains some constant value, right? Or chinna chinna light there is a change, right? That friction we call it as a kinetic friction, right? So இதெல்லாம் வந்து movement. Your object is moving, right? So simply we can also draw like this, right? In a sliding friction is always less than your static friction. This is my maximum limit. This is my static friction. So whatever the friction force within this limit, we call it as a static friction. Above that, we call it as a sliding or a kinetic friction. Why we call it as a sliding friction actually? Because your object is sliding, right? Simple. It is since your object is sliding, we call that as sliding friction. There is one more which is called as a rolling friction, right? Your object will roll. Okay, right. So let me consider here. So this kinetic friction, of course, this kinetic friction, when your object is having movement, we can categorize into two. One is a sliding friction, other one is a rolling friction. A sliding friction is a friction when your object is sliding. When your object is sliding. So rolling friction is the friction when your object is rolling. Okay, so example we can able to see. So whatever tires, sorry. So tires, bearings, right, all comes under rolling friction. So sliding friction is whatever we see, right? Like skate, so skateboard, something like that, right? Or any other object. So whatever it is moving, right? When it slides, we call that a sliding friction. Okay, right. So there is one more friction we call it as a fluid friction, right? So this is because of air or any other hydraulic, any other fluids, right? Whenever we consider a ship, yeah, when a ship is asked to move in a particular object, what happens is there will be a lots of friction because of water, right? So you will lots of force to move that ship, right? Similarly, even if you consider a car, right? So the design of the car is found in such a way that it has to go, right? You should have a laminar flow. So yes, any design of a car, right? Any design of a car is identified, right? It is modeled in such a way that it is not resisting the fluid, right? The friction has to be less. What happens? Let me consider you have a car like this. If I consider a car, right? So when you have a force, air flows, that will reduce the stability, right? So in order to maintain the stability, we design such a way that you have a curved one like this, something like this, right? So the mirror of the car is something like that, because the whatever the air is coming, it will reflect accordingly, right? It will reflect accordingly, and it forms a laminar flow. You can able to see all are somewhat laminar. Even at the end, it is laminar. When you have something like this, what happens? It will hit, and it will try to have a turbulent type of motion, right? Whenever you have a turbulent motion, have a very less stability, right? So because of that, there may be an accident, or there is no control in your particular vehicle, right? So most of the race cars, so which is going at high speed, you can able to see something like this, right? So not only in cars, even for bicycles, your motorbikes, everything is designed in such a way that your fluid friction is reduced, right? So that is also a factor. Application of the friction. So as I told you, you have tires, right? We can use. So without this proper tire, it is very difficult to control your vehicle. So you have lots of measures. Why you have these types of measures? Can you tell me? There are two purposes. Can I tell you what are the two purposes for these measures?
Grip, sir. Coefficient of friction increase.
Grip. Okay, very good. Then,
Sir, and
yeah,
the water
can you?
particles are scattered from the figure, sir.
Yeah, very good. So I expecting this answer from you, right? So that is what I need. So what happens is, so the shape itself is designed in such a way that whatever the water particles gets inside, that will escape from this, right? So when your bike is riding in rain or in water, right, whatever it is. So in order to avoid that, so it should not be there, because when there is a water particle, what happens? There is no proper grip. Your friction is reduced. So it is designed in such a way that all this water particles, whatever, that will escape on that particular curves, right? So that is also one very important thing of this particular tires, right? Okay, next, it is also used in belts, right? Belt drives, so to connect some belts, right? So some engine to shaft, something like that. We use, of course, most of your bikes, you have a belt drive or a chain drive, right? So chain is different. It is also related to friction, but not that much, because you have a, it is a combination of both a frictional element and a gear, right? Chain is something like that, whereas belt is purely related to friction, right? So the number of transmission of the power is related, purely depends on the angle of contact of the belt between the pulley. So you can able to see this is the contact, and here also this is the contact, right? Based on that, okay. And the third one is brake, right? So to control a vehicle, so braking is also very important thing. In order to apply a brake, right? So the friction application, this is also one of the friction application, where a slider or something which will apply it, it will reduce the speed of a particular object which is important, right? So that also comes under this friction category, right? So let me give a small introduction about the belt. Belt is something like this. So it is having a contact. So it is also used to tie any object, right? For, so this also acts as a friction, and mainly a belt drive. So from motor to rope, if you connect it to transmit power, right? It is used to transmit power from one shaft to the other shaft, as like gear, right? So here the application is when the power, so driven shaft is at a particular distance, larger distance, right? Then there is no other go. You can't apply a gear, because gear is only for shorter distance. There are few applications where you need something in a larger distance, right? For example, you are taking water from a well using a motor, right? So you can't connect a motor near that well, right? What happens? There are some the weight of the motor itself is large, very, very high, and there is no possibility in that, right? And it is not safe to motor also, so something like that. So in that case, what you can do is you can connect the motor and your pulley by means of a belt. So because the center to descent is higher, so something like this. Okay, in that case, we use that belt drives. Okay, right. When you look after the types of belts, right, there are three different drives. One is a light drive, medium drive, and a high drive. So light drive is limited to 10 meter per second, right? So the rotation, the velocity is limited to 10 meter per second. Medium drive is from 10 to 22. Heavy drives is more than 22, right? So for any compressor, generator, we go for higher velocity, right? And types of belts, you have flat belt, V belt. So of course, it will be like this. This picture is wrong. Actually, your V will be like this. Trapezium. Right? This is your V belt and a circular belt. Right? And most of the applications, they go for V. Right? Most of the applications, they go for V. Sometimes they go for flat. They won't prefer circular. Why? Can you tell me what is the reason?
Slip அதிகம்.
Yeah, slip அதிகமா இருக்கும். Right, there is of course slip வந்து அதிகமா இருக்கும். அது எப்படி சொல்லலாம்னா, so you can say in other words, like there is no contact. The contact is only a point, right? Only 2 points it is having contact. So when a contact is less, your friction is also less. So the power transmission is very, very less. You can able to see belt, flat belt having this much amount of contact. V belt, of course, it will be having a contact like this, right? When compared to flat, V is having higher contact, because the flat, if you want higher contact, the length of the flat surface should be increased, right? So which will have a higher volume, right? That is one case. So whenever your length is increased, the thickness of the belt should also be increased, because there will be a, what you can say, it is like an elastic object, right? What happens, there will be higher elongation, right? If it is thinner, we have higher elongation. These things can be rectified in this V belt, right? So the contact surface is also more, and the thickness is also somewhat lesser. That is enough, right? So that's why most of the time they will prefer V. Sometimes there are some complications wherever you can able to see some grinding operations, we go for flat belt. Okay, right. So belt drives you can classify into two: open belt drive, so something like this. So if a driver rotates in clockwise, your driven will also rotate in the same direction, clockwise. Gear is opposite, whereas there it is in same direction, right? So we have some specification. One is a slack side and one is a tight side. So tight is something which is pulling your belt. This side it will pull the belt. This side it will release the belt. Okay, so that's why one side, so where it tries to pull, that side we call it as a tight side. The other side we call it as a slack side. Okay, and you have one more which is cross belt drive. So connecting a belt like this. This is for opposite rotation. So if this is rotating in clockwise, your driven shaft will be rotating in anti-clockwise direction, right? If you want to reverse the rotation, you will have a cross belt drive, right? So this have lesser efficiency. So open belt is having lesser efficiency when compared to cross belt. The reason is the contact. So you can able to see here the contact surface, right? The contact surface is 180 degree. right, in driver and 180 degree in driven, right? So totally you have around 360-degree contact. Okay, whereas if you go for a cross belt, it is different. You can able to see here. So the contact is 180 plus something, right? Here also it is 180 plus something. So the contact is more. Your contact is more in cross belt drive. So the efficiency of the cross belt drive is also more, right, when compared to your open belt drive, right? And next one is quarter turn belt drives, right? It is like this. Of course, when you want to, it is like a bevel gear, right? So when you want to transmit power in two different intersecting shafts, something like that, okay, then we have this quarter turn belt drives. So it will be like this. So you also have a guide pulley in order to maintain the friction or tightness on the belt, okay. And the next one is belt drive with idler pulleys, all right? So as like your gear, here also we can have an idler. What is the purpose of this idler?
In the direction of motion.
No, the direction is not changing. Both are rotating in same direction.
Sir, size adjustment.
Application increase பண்றது. பெரிய belt இல்லனா idler use பண்ணலாம்.
Yeah, the contact has to be increased. All right, so you can able to see. So when you have an idler here, the contact is more now. Right? Similarly here also, the contact is previously it is 180 degree. Now the contact is higher because of this idler. Okay, so you have sets of idler pulleys also. So there's something like this, a driver pulley. So if you want to have when you have only one driver which is connected to a set of operations, right, then we use this idlers to connect it. Okay, this type of belt we call it as a serpent belt. Okay, so one belt is connecting lots of, you have three driven pulleys, 1 2 3 driven pulleys and idler pulleys, one driver pulley, right? So can you guess an application for this? Can you guess an application for this? Something like this, one driver connected to three driven pulleys. Yeah.
Sir, floor mill, sir.
Conveys.
Floor mill, okay.
Sir, camshaftல இருந்து அந்த radiator build.
Yeah, very good. So it is applicable in engines. So you can able to see here. So you have a power steering pump, alternator, water pumps, crankshaft, right? Air conditioner compressors. So in order to connect all these things, right, we use this idlers and belts. So you can able to see here, right? This is one of the engine, car engine. So the rotation. So the crankshaft is the main driver, right? So from there, it is connected to your water pump, right, which is applicable for radiator. Tensioner is also an idler to increase the contact. Then it is also connected to a power steering pump. Of course, you know what is the application of this, right? So hydraulic pump, it is used to use for power steering, right? It is also connected to an alternator, so to produce electricity to store some generator, so current, right, based on this particular uh, crankshaft rotation. And you have another idler, and it's also connected to your AC compressor, right? So these are all connected in your engines, right? So you have one crankshaft, one driver. So you have 4 applications. right? So that one, is, of course, this is the main purpose of this idlers and this pulleys, belt drives, right? The main reason is we can't apply a gear because everything is at a different position, right? Everything is at a different position, and there is no possibility of connecting gear because every engine. So if you consider a BMW car, if you consider a Ford car, or if you consider any other car, the location of these things is different, right? Based on their specification, the location and other things are different. So connecting in terms of gear is also a difficult task, right? So the only way is connecting by means of a belt drives. Okay. Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll proceed. Yeah. So this is also related to compound gear, compound belt drive, right? So this just as like what we discussed in compound gear, right? You know that one shaft is having two belts with same speed, same concept what we look after in gear, right? And these are other applications. So stepped cone pulley drive. So the purpose of this is to increase the speed or decrease the speed, right? So the speed depends on the pulley diameter. So if the pulley diameter, for example, driving shaft is higher and driven shaft is less, you have higher speed, right, in your driven shaft. When you change it accordingly, you will have lower speeds, right? So these are few applications, right? Few applications. Similarly, flat and loose pulleys. So to connect it accordingly, right, to the machine shaft. So when you are required a lesser, so when you say loose pulley, it means that your machine is not rotating, but your driving is rotating. So your motor is continuously rotating. But if you want to stop, emergency stop, it is like an emergency stop. If you apply it, it will connect it to a loose pulley so that automatically it will stop. There is no machine rotating. So only when you connect it to the fast pulley, it will be rotating, right? Something like that. Yeah. That's all. That is all about that belt drives. Now we'll go to the main topic, which is your screw friction, right? So let me consider you have a screw, right? The weight you have a set of screw which is having a weight acting on the top of it. So now, so what I will do is if I want to uh, lift that weight, let me consider that I want to lift that weight, right? So what I have to do, I have to tilt, I have to apply a moment, right? So this is the moment which is acting, right? So what happens here is this one, it is having a contact, right? This is having a contact with your screw thread, right? Wherever it has a contact, that will have a friction, right? So friction of the particular rotation. So what will be the friction? So what is the purpose of this friction? What happens is I apply it so that it has to lock. Whatever the weight I am lifting, it has to lock. Because what happens is when I rotate this, what happens? This will lift. When I release the rotation, it should not come down, right? So the screw has to lock whatever I have lifted, right? So the position should be same. In that case, we use this screw friction, right? The main application here is the screw jack. So to lift your vehicle, to change the tire, right? We have the screw jack, right? So in that things, we use this screw friction, right? So when you make a free body diagram for this, when you make a free body diagram for this, you will have something like this. So the amount of force, right, applied so that I want to lift my load upwards. The force is acting downward, right? And this is the friction. So total friction force. This is a combination of your NR plus friction Fr, right? So resultant of this is R, and this is phi, right? The angle with respect to this is phi.